Hello students, welcome to my class. In my previous video, already I started explanation of a short fiction, A Visit of Charity by EUDORA WELTY. In today's session, I am going through the other paragraphs explanation in this short fiction, A Visit of Charity by EUDORA WELTY. Let me go through this explanation. In the last class, I had stopped here. Now, in today's session, look at here. One old woman was pulling the door open in short, gradual jerks, and when she saw the nurse, a strange smile forced her old face dangerously awry. What is the spelling of here? Here, A-W-R-Y, awry. What is the meaning of that? Unexpected. Marian suddenly propelled by the strong, impatient arm of the nurse. Saw next the side face of another woman, even older, who was lying flat in bed with a cap on and a counterpane drawn up to her chin. Look at here. Now, the narrator is saying that the old woman, she has enough energy to open the door. Look at here. Was pulling the door open in short, gradual jerks. What is that? She doesn't has enough energy to open the door completely. Next, when she saw the nurse, a strange smile forced her old face dangerously awry. What is that? So, this old woman, she was so surprised. Yes, even she's so scared about this. So, she had given a strange smile. It's not a proper smile. It is an unusual smile. Because the old lady was so surprised. Yes. Next, look at here. Marian suddenly propelled by the strong, impatient arm of the nurse. So, next, the side face of another woman. So, here, what the narrator is saying that the nurse is very hard, very strong, and she wants to get the things completed immediately. So, she pushed the door with force. Then, suddenly, Marian had seen another face. So what is that? Another woman. Even she is older than the first lady who was lying flat in the bed. Okay, is it clear? So now Marian had seen another old lady. She was lying on the bed and she is very older than whatever, even older than the first old lady. Yes, totally in this visit of charity, there are 4 characters: nurse, Marian, and 2 old ladies in the room. Look at here. Next, visitor, said the nurse, and after one more shove, she was off up the hall. Look at here. Nurse spoke to old woman. She was saying that, look at here, visitor. Visitor has come. And after one more shove, she was off up the hall. So again, she pushed the door and she left the place. Is it clear? The nurse spoke to old woman and she left the hall. Marian stood tongue-tied. Both hands held the potted plant. The old woman still with that terrible square smile, which was a smile of welcome, stamped on her bony face, was waiting. Perhaps she said something. The old woman in bed said nothing at all, and she did not look around. So look at here. Marian does not know what to do. Totally she became deaf and unable to talk to them, as if she is so nervous, and reluctantly she had entered the room. Yes, tongue-tied, unable to speak something to them. Because she is so nervous and reluctantly. So what is that? Unwillingly she had entered the room. She held the potted plant with her both hands. Actually, she's supposed to give that potter plant to them, but she doesn't know what to do right now because look at here. She stood tongue-tied, unable to talk to them. Next, the old woman still with that terrible square smile. So what is here? Still the old lady has terrible square smile, and narrator says that she's not comfortable and actually it's supposed to be a smile of welcome but looks terrible. And the old woman was waiting, perhaps said something. But whereas the other old woman who is lying in the bed said nothing. Yes. Now, actually she doesn't has any interest to talk to Marian. The second old woman, she doesn't has any interest to talk to Marian. At least the first old woman, she had given some smile, somehow some smile, and even she said something. She is trying to be friendly. But whereas the second old woman, she doesn't speak. She doesn't has any interest to speak to Marian. Look at here. The old woman in bed said nothing at all and she did not look around. Suddenly, Marian saw a hand, quick as a bird claw, reach up in the air and pluck the white cap off her head. At the same time, another claw to match drew her all the way into the room, and the next moment the door closed behind her. So here Marian compared the hand with bird claws. Yes. So whatever the hands, the old woman hands, just she plucked the white cap of Marian and suddenly she pulled the Marian into the room. And the next moment the door closed behind her. Yes. Now Marian totally, completely entered into the room and the moment she entered, the door closed. Yes. The next moment, the door was closed. So right now, the Marian is completely in the room with two old ladies. Look at here. My, said the old lady at her side. Marian stood enclosed by a bed and washstand and a chair. The tiny room had altogether too much furniture. Everything smelled wet, even the bare floor. She held on to the back of the chair. She was wicker and felt soft and damp. Look at here, wicker. W-I-C-K-E-R, wicker. What is the meaning of that? Twigs. Her heart beat more and more slowly. Her hands got colder and colder, and she could not hear whether the old woman were saying anything or not. She could not see them very clearly. How dark it was. The window shade was down, and the only door was shut. Marian looked at the ceiling. It was like being caught in a robber's cave just before one was murdered. So look at here. Here the narrator just he described about the furniture of the room. And look at here. Bed and a washstand and a chair. So it is with too much furniture. Everything smelled wet, even the bare floor. Actually, it's a winter season, so the inner rooms are very cool. Yes, look at here. Marian stood enclosed by a bed and a washstand and a chair. The tiny room had altogether too much furniture. So there was a bed, a washstand and a chair in that room. And the room was dark because the window shade was down and only the door was closed. Actually, it's a Marian's strange experience. Already I discussed that she doesn't want to visit a home, but she has been forced to visit the house Yes, she has been forced to visit the house. Actually, organization. So she's belonged to an organization. Yes, youth organization in America. So this organization believed in making the child to move into the society to learn how to interact with everyone. Yes, actually, Marian, she's not at all interested to visit this house. So she's not comfortable with them. Look at here. And so because of that, she could not see them very clearly. How dark is it was. The window shade was down and the only door was shut. Actually, here it's a winter season, so the inner, whatever the inner rooms are so cool. So she's not comfortable with this furniture. Yes, because it is with too much furniture. The room here, the narrator describes the room. It's a tiny room with too much furniture. And here dampness, whatever the damp, soft and damp. So here dampness makes everyone to be uncomfortable to stand in the room. And probably the room is dark, but not as dark as Marian feels because she has a negative opinion on these old ladies. Yes, look at here. Then her heartbeat, yes, whatever her beating, so increased more and more. Because actually she's unwillingly she entered the room. And even the room is very small and with too much furniture. And it's a winter season, the inner rooms, whatever the inner rooms, they are very cool, and the dampness shows that makes everyone to be uncomfortable to stand in the room. Is it clear? Now, okay, it's dark, but not as dark as Marian feels. Next, Marian looked at the ceiling. So what she felt that as if she is captured in the robber's cave and one is about to kill her. Is it clear? Repeatedly, I had gone through this paragraph. Is it clear? So in this paragraph, the narrator just discussed about the whatever the things they are in the room. It is with too much furniture and the outside the weather is actually it's a winter season, so the rooms are very very cool. Yes. Now even Marian is actually unwillingly she entered into the room, so she is not able to digest whatever the circumstance in the room. Did you come to be our little girl for a while? The first robber asked. Because she felt as if she is captured in the robber's cave. So whatever the Marian just she said, the first robber asked. She felt as if they are robbers. Then something was snatched from Marian's hands. The little potter plant. Flowers, screamed the old woman. She stood holding the pot in an undecided way. Pretty flowers, she added. Look at here. So the first old lady, she had taken the potter plant from the Marian. Yes. And she stood holding the pot in an undecided way and said, pretty flowers, pretty flowers. Yes, she said that they are very pretty. Flowers are very pretty. Then the old woman in bed cleared her throat and spoke. They are not pretty, she said, still without looking around, but very distinctly. So next, the second old woman, what she had said that, yes, they are not very pretty. Actually, she did not see that flowers clearly, even though the second old woman was saying that they are not good flowers, they are not pretty flowers. Marian suddenly pitched against the chair and sat down in it. Yes, Marian had taken one chair and she sat down in it. Pretty flowers, the first woman insisted. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Marian wished she had the little pot back for just a moment. She had forgotten to look at the plant herself before giving it away. What did it look like? So actually Marian wished she had the little pot back for just a moment. Actually she's supposed to give that potted plant to them. But right now she's not willing to sit in that room. She's not willing to stay in that room. She doesn't want to do anything. Marian wished she had the little pot back for just a moment. Look at here. Stinkweeds, said the other old woman sharply. She had a bunchy white forehead and red eyes like a sheep. Now she turned them towards Marian. The fogginess seemed to rise in her throat again, and she bleated, "Who are you?" Look at here. The second old lady, right now, she turned towards the Marian and she said, so by seeing that potter plant, whatever she said, that they are stinkweeds, the potter plants. Here, the second old woman, she compared the potter plant with stinkweeds. Yes. So what is fogginess? It's a blurred voice. Yes. So she spoke like a sheep bleating, like a sheep voice. And the Marian, she was so much scared. Guess what the second old woman, what she, look at here. The fogginess seemed to rise in her throat again and she bleated. The second old lady bleated and asked, "Who are you?" She shouted on Marian. "Who are you? Who are you?" Yes. Actually, Marian was so scared. Yes, because she shouted like a sheep's voice. Who shouted? Second old lady. And even she compared her potted plant with stinkweeds. To her surprise, Marian could not remember her name. "I'm a campfire girl," she said finally. So actually, she's whatever the Marian, she is in totally confused mood, and even she could not remember her name. And finally she said, "I'm a campfire girl." Actually, Marian does not want to, she doesn't want to reveal her name, actual name. What is her actual name? Marian. She doesn't want to reveal her name, but now she is total confusion and even could not remember her name. And finally she said that "I'm a campfire girl." Yes, actually she doesn't want to reveal her name, but with her whatever the second old woman voice, whatever the sheep's bleating of the second old woman, so made her Marian just confused like anything, and totally she forgot her name, and at last finally she said, "I'm a campfire girl." Yes, is it clear? Because Marian is somewhat in a fluctuation mode. Next. "Watch out for the germs," said the old woman like a sheep, not addressing anyone. "One came out last month to see us," said the first woman. So what she was saying, that one came out last month to see us, said the first old woman. So first old woman, she said that in the previous month somebody had come to visit us. Look at here. Said the last month to see us, said the first old woman. "A sheep or a germ?" wondered Marian dreamily, holding on to the chair. "Did not," cried the other old woman. "Did so. Read to us out of the Bible and we enjoyed it." What is this? Screamed. What is that? Loud. So screamed the first. Look at here. So whatever the first lady, first old woman, she was saying that somebody has, in the last month, somebody has come to our room to visit us. Yes. And whatever she said that, Marian said that I'm a camphor girl. Yes, so she carried flowers. Actually, why Marian had carried flowers to gain extra points. Whatever in her to gain extra points, she had carried flowers. And now whatever the old woman, they are saying that somebody has last month somebody had come to our room and they read out whatever the Bible. And she was saying that we enjoyed it. The first lady, the first old woman was saying that we enjoyed that Bible. Yes, whatever that girl, she had read it out, we enjoyed a lot. But the second old lady, she was saying that who enjoyed it? At last, look at here, we enjoyed it, insisted the other. You enjoyed it, I enjoyed it, we all enjoyed it, said Marian. Actually, the first old lady said that they enjoyed. Yes, but the second old lady shouted and said that I did not enjoy at all. And at last, Marian said we all enjoyed it without realizing that she had spoken something. So she got mental. Look at here. We all enjoyed it, said Marian without realizing that she had said something. Actually, Marian carried whatever the potted plant and whatever the Bible, reading of the Bible. So that these two brings some extra points to the Marian. So some extra double points for the Bible reading. So for the reason of gaining the extra point, she had carried potted plant, and for reading Bible. So for Bible reading, she gets double points. So actually it is that. But whatever the scene, whatever the situation made everything Marian to be uncomfortable to this situation. So right now she's not happy because whatever the room and whatever the characters, whatever the behavior of the old ladies made Marian to be so scared, and she was in right now she is in confused mode. Yes. Actually, to gain points, she had come into the room, but by seeing all over whatever the circumstance in the room, everything was vanished from her mind. So she said that we all enjoyed it, said Marian, without realizing that she said something. Is it okay? Now, the first old woman had just finished putting the potted plant high up on to the top of wardrobe, where it could hardly be seen from the below. Marian wondered how she had ever succeeded in placing it there, how she could ever have reached so high. Yes, at last, her potted plant. Yes, the first old lady has had fixed her potted plant. Look at here. Placed her potted plant on the shelf, on the top of the shelf. At last, she succeeded. The first old lady succeeded. She placed the Marian's potted plant onto the shelf. You must not pay any attention to old Ada, she now said to the little girl. She is ailing today. So the first old lady spoke to Marian and said that you must not pay any attention to old Ada. So old Ada, she is second old woman who was lying in the bed. She is ailing. Sorry, it's a ailing today. A-I-L-I-E-N-G. Ailing. What is ailing meaning? What is the meaning of ailing? Weak. Sick. Will you shut your mouth? Said the woman in bed. I'm not. You're a story. I can't stay but a minute. Really, I can't, said Marian. Suddenly, she looked down at the wet floor and thought that if she were sick in here, they would have to let her go. So both the two ladies started to fight each other. Yes, because they have two different characters. So first old woman was saying something, and second old lady was saying something. So both are just they are saying something, rocking some words, opposite words. They are opposite to each other. So Marian, she is unable to stay there. Look at here. With much to do, the first old woman sat down in a rocking chair, still another piece of furniture, and began to rock. With the fingers of one hand, she touched a very dirty cameo pin. What is that? It's an ornament on her chest. What do you do at school? She asked. Look at here. Actually, the first old lady, she touched her own dirty cameo pin. Actually, the old woman, she had a cameo pin. It's an ornament. She touched a very dirty cameo pin on her chest and asked Marian, what do you do at school? She asked. I don't know, said Marian. She tried to think, but she could not. Yes, because she is somewhat disturbed mode. Oh, but the flowers are beautiful, the old woman whispered. She seemed to rock faster and faster. Marian did not see how anyone could rock so fast. Yes, the old lady, she started saying something, and she asked, what do you do at school? But Marian, she doesn't want to give a reply, and even she is in different disturbed mode. Ugly, said the woman in bed. So now the first old woman she's saying that your flowers are very beautiful, and the second woman, so as usual, she says whatever the first old woman, whatever she says, the second old woman says in the opposite way. Yes, now she said it's an ugly. It's a common to them. Everything, they have different behavior. They behave differently. Now, if we bring flowers, Marian began, then fell silent. She had almost said if campfire girls brought flowers to the old lady's home, the visit would count one extra point. Already I discussed whatever the flowers and the Bible, reading of the Bible, so gives some extra point, double points. Okay? And if they took a Bible with them on the bus and read it to all the old ladies, it counted double. So Bible, whatever the Bible reading, so gives some extra double points. Flowers, whatever the flowers, they give some extra points, and the Bible, whatever the reading of Bible gives double extra points. Already I discussed. But the old woman had not listened anyway. She was rocking and watching the other one, who watched back from the bed. So actually the two old ladies, they have quite different behavior mentalities. So whatever the first old woman, just whatever she speaks, the second old woman, she says something in negative version. So thank you, students. In my next video, I'm going to complete the total a short fiction, A Visit of Charity paragraph explanation. Thanking you all.